Welcome to Joker Recaps. Today we are going to explain a good fantasy movie. Let's start it in a famous museum in Greece. The tour guide was enthusiastically telling an old legend. The story of a mysterious stick that was said to contain the powers of all the gods. Then two mysterious figures appeared at the museum door. Both wore iron armor like the old Spartan soldiers. Without saying anything, he stepped towards that stick. With a loud bang, he shattered the glass that had protected the staff for centuries. Alarms went off throughout the museum, and the tour guide panicked and yelled for security. Then both of them took off their helmets. She was no ordinary human, but Atlas, two eldest daughters, Esper and Calypso. As soon as he touched that mysterious stick, old forgotten divine powers awakened within him. Calypso didn't waste any time. Using his mental magic powers, he hypnotized the museum's security guards. Within moments, they all became slaves to his orders. Gradually this magic spread, and within no time the entire staff, from the receptionist to the cleaning staff, came under Calypso's control. People started running. But then the automatic security system became active. All the doors of the museum were closed by heavy metal walls. Now no one could save the people trapped inside. Seeing this scene, Happer became irritated. He awakened his powers and waved his hand in the air. Suddenly the marble statues standing around the museum came alive and started catching the fleeing people. Those statues grabbed hold of humans, as if they have been made a living exhibition. Yes, Calypso turned to her sister and said with a smile, "No matter how great the champions of humans are, they are still humans and we are gods," said in a calm but serious voice. Never underestimate the wisdom of an old wizard. He must have chosen his chosen warriors very carefully. The scene now changes. Philadelphia, America. Meanwhile, a superhero is sitting in his doctor's clinic. But this is no ordinary person. This is Billy Batson, aka Shazam. He was talking to his pediatrician as if he were talking to a therapist. He says that he has such great powers but still he feels alone. His family, that is, his other brothers and sisters, now want to go on different paths. Someone is paying attention to studies. Someone wants to live their life. No one wants to be together like before. There was pain in the cat's voice. He says we were heroes fighting together. Now everything is falling apart. He returns home after the session is over. He sits in his room and starts playing video games. Just to distract. Then he sees his brother Fatty sneaking out. He gets suspicious, so he picks up Fatty's phone and listens to it, and then he hears the police radio voice. There has been an accident on the bridge. The bridge is about to collapse. That's all I wanted to hear. The sparkle returned to the cat's eyes. He immediately stood up and said, "Let's get to work." He calls all the other siblings, and within minutes the Shazam family is flying through the sky and arriving at the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. But the scene there was heart-wrenching. A fire truck had overturned. The explosion caused a fire and the steel ropes of the entire bridge were breaking. The asphalt ground was cracking. Cars were sliding downhill toward the river. People were screaming. The children were trapped. The Shazam family immediately sprang into action. Someone was getting people out of cars. Someone was flying and saving the children. While Peter was trying to join the broken steel ropes of the bridge with his powers. But as fast as he added, 5 more would be broken. He was doing the entire pull as if he was in pain. After this struggle of a few minutes, they somehow managed to save all the people. But the bridge could not save itself. With a loud bang, the entire bridge collapsed and fell into the Delaware River. The Shazam family looked at each other. Billy took a deep breath and said, "We really need to have a family meeting now." He went over to Eugene, who was drawing a map of the dorm room. That mysterious room which had doors leading to other worlds. Billy looked and said, "If we want to win this war, we must organize our plan now. And from there a new war begins. Between the champions of humans and the daughters of the gods." After searching for some time, Billy finally sees her brother, who is thrown out of the room by a huge monster. Without wasting any time, Billy catches hold of him and drags him to the meeting room. When everyone is gathered, Billy tries to start the conversation in a serious manner. He points out everyone's mistakes. He tries to explain that if they want to work as a team, everyone will have to improve themselves. But I am not interested at all. She's still sitting with her head buried in her organic chemistry notes. Fadi quickly makes up an excuse to go out and Eugene mutters that he needs to take a bath. Gradually everyone else also gets up and leaves and the cat is left alone in that empty room talking to itself. At school, Fadi is roaming the corridors. Then he bumps into a new student, Anne, who is looking for a specific classroom. Fadi offers to show him the way. But then two goons arrive there and start making fun of him. One of them turns to his crutches and starts laughing. Before the situation could escalate, a teacher intervened and the miscreants retreated. Fadi, who is trying to control himself. He takes Anne forward and occasionally tries to show how close his relationship is with superheroes. He even says that Superman once had lunch with him in the school canteen. It is clear that he wants to impress Anne. Meanwhile, in the realm of the gods, Hesper and Calypso arrive at the dungeon where the wizard Shazam is chained. Both of them stand in front of him and start laughing and show him the magical staff which they have recently recovered. She is proud of her returned powers. Control over the elements, the power of chaos, everything. There is curiosity in the magician's eyes, but he does not have time to talk. The two sisters pull him into the air with their mental power and force him to join the two halves of the broken staff. Shazam hesitates, but his mind succumbs to the magic of control. As the two parts begin to connect, he suddenly tries to snatch the staff from her hands, but Hesper pushes him back. A powerful wave of energy sends him crashing to the ground. But in the chaos, he cleverly hides a small piece of the staff in his hand. With the help of the same piece he whispers a magical spell, through which he sends a secret message to his champion. Here Shazam is having dinner with Wonder Woman. Everything is going very well. Then suddenly the face of the wizard Shazam appears on Diana's face. He warns that the daughters of Atlas have returned and want to take over not only the world but his family as well. He tries to explain how they can be stopped. But before he can finish speaking, the power of that magical piece is lost. Billy suddenly wakes up the next morning. I am still trying to understand whether what I saw last night was a dream or reality. A little while later, Fadi is sitting comfortably in the school canteen. Then Anne comes there again. She smiles and asks him to show her the place where he used to eat with the superheroes. As Freddy tries to make an impact with his words, Willy suddenly appears and drags him away. After some time everyone gathers at one place again. Shazam tells everyone about the strange dream and the wizard's warning. He also admits that he did a quick Google search for Daughters of Atlas but couldn't find much about her. Feeling the need for real answers, Peter blurts out that he might know someone who can help. He leads everyone through a secret passage inside the Rock of Eternity. The path opens into a huge ancient library. There he introduces everyone to Steve, a magical pen that holds the knowledge of the entire universe. Seeing the opportunity, Billy asks Steve who the Daughters of Atlas are. Without a moment's delay, the pen starts moving on its own and writes down the names of all the books in which he is mentioned, making his research very easy. Here, when the other brothers and sisters are busy in research, Fadi takes Anne to the school rooftop. He is still trying to impress her. That's why he keeps mentioning his superhero friends again and again. Finally he says, "Would you really like to meet a superhero?" Anne could have said something. Fadi steps back a little before he does. He goes into a corner and transforms himself into his superhero form. Then he comes forward with great confidence, as if he were a big hero. But it doesn't tell you that he's actually Fadi himself. Meanwhile, in the library, Kat and his siblings finally start to understand. In ancient texts, he learns that the staff was actually made by Atlas himself from the wood of the Tree of Life. Mary explains that this weapon can absorb the powers of other gods and store them within itself. That means it works like a giant magical battery. As they delve deeper, they also discover that after the war between the gods and the Titans, some human sorcerers acquired the staff and used it to imprison other gods so that their powers could be bestowed upon their chosen champions. Meanwhile, a breaking news about the attack on the museum is shown on TV. Everyone immediately suspects that the attackers are the same two sisters, Esper and Calypso. But Peter's eyes fall on a book in which it is written that Atlas had 3 daughters, Esper, Calypso and the youngest Anthea. As soon as Billy hears this third name, a bell goes off in his head. He remembers that Fadi recently talked about hanging out with a girl named Anne. Billy becomes convinced that Anne is actually Anthea. That is, the third daughter of Atlas. But before he could reach Fadi, Hesper and Calypso suddenly appear on the school roof. Hesper hits Fadi directly in the chest with her staff. Fadi screams in pain and instantly transforms from his superhero form back into a normal human being. Fadi gets nervous. Again Shazam tries to speak but nothing happens. The staff has taken away all his powers. Now he is just an ordinary weak boy. Hesper doesn't waste time. She kicks his crutches away and leans over him, growling. "Tell me, where is the rest of your family?" Calypso looks over to the edge of the roof where Billy is flying towards them in the distance. She says with a slight smile that there is no need to tell, and then Anthea, who was playing as a friend till now, starts showing her true identity. She was actually a double agent. All the surrounding buildings start shaking. The ground becomes jagged and begins to wither, and the entire landscape changes. The cat loses its balance and lands hard against a brick wall. But his brothers and sisters are not far away. Both sisters immediately understand that now the real fight is about to begin. Calypso sees this opportunity as a way to gain more power. She says that they attack the entire Shazam family at once. But Hesper and Anthea stop him. She reminds him that their true purpose is to obtain the Seed of Life and that they cannot jeopardize their mission. Just then the rest of the Shazam family is about to reach them. Hesper immediately grabs Fadi and flies into the sky, creating a huge dome around the entire city with her hands so that no one can enter. Billy is desperate to save his brother. He unleashes a powerful bolt of lightning on the dome. But the lightning strikes and returns. Completely ineffective. The poor cat just stares. When his brother is taken away before his eyes. Here in the world of the gods, Fadi regains consciousness. He finds himself chained in a dark dungeon, with the old wizard Shazam beside him. Fadi starts thinking of a way to escape. But the magician says in a tired voice that nothing can be done now. He has given all his strength to Billy. Now he has nothing left. On Earth, Cat is still wondering what the true power of these 3 sisters is. He realizes that he now has to make a new plan. Together they reach the Great Library, where a magical pen named Steve gives them scrolls containing some spells. When these scrolls are written, they automatically transform into paper birds and fly directly to the gods, delivering the message. Back in the celestial realm, Hesper summons Fadi and threatens him into revealing the real names and ages of the remaining 5 champions. But Fadi remains silent. Doesn't say anything. Calypso then steps forward and uses her Keon's magic, sending intense pain through Fadi's body. Fadi screams in agony. But still he does not reveal the secret of his family. Just when Calypso is about to become even more ruthless, a paper bird flies to Hesper with a message from the cat. Hesper tells her sister to step back so she can read Billy's message. In that letter, Billy offers a deal. Fadi's life in exchange for the powers of 5 champions is given to Calypso, who is always in the mood for a fight. She immediately accepts the deal. She orders her servants to throw Fadi and the magician into a deep well. That well was very dark and scary. Whose protection was entrusted to a scary demon named Layden. A monster that could strike fear into anyone's heart with just its sight. As the demon approaches them, Fadi and the magician prepare themselves for the last moment. But at that very moment Anthea arrives there. Even though she is also Atlas' daughter, she now has feelings for Fadi. She immediately turns her back on her family and pulls them both out of the pit. She drops them into a maze and quickly explains that the path to the human world is in the middle of it. After showing the direction, she quickly leaves from there. Billy arrives on Earth to meet Hesper. He talks her into returning Fadi and removing the dome that sits over the city. But Hesper flatly refuses and says that she wants all her powers back. The cat refuses to give up and calls the rest of his companions for help. As they are about to arrive, Calypso suddenly emerges from the shadows and strikes Peter with her staff. All his magic would be taken away in one stroke. Darla quickly distracts Calypso, and at that moment, Eugene attacks him with a bolt of lightning. But Hesper still remains a major threat. She kicks Billy hard and then knocks both Eugene and Darla unconscious with a single gesture. Billy recovers from the injury. He flies through the sky and comes down quickly, knocking Hesper to the ground, freeing his siblings. But underground, the story takes a turn. Hesper takes over again. She grabs Shazam and slams him hard into a pillar, causing cracks to spread through the walls. Just then, Mary and Darla arrive in the room downstairs. Together they grab Hesper by her hands and throw her to the ground. Billy arrives and hits him with full force, causing the floor to explode. But Hesper wasn't going to give up so easily. She frees herself and ties both sisters up with metal cables and then throws a heavy wooden box at the cat, knocking it straight down. Sparsha grabs the jam and starts hitting it against the wall repeatedly, causing pieces of cement to break and fall. She then uses her elemental powers and creates a massive ball of garbage to destroy Billy once and for all. But at the last moment, Billy uses his super speed and jerks aside. The result is that Hesper's own power comes crashing down on him. After the sisters are freed and Hesper temporarily falls, the cat drags her to a nearby chemical toilet, which is actually a secret portal leading to the Rock of Eternity. Once there, he and his siblings imprison Hesper and go to the library to write a message. Offer to exchange Hesper for Fadi. But they have no idea that Hesper still has her powers. She uses her powers to melt the door to her prison and escapes without anyone noticing. Meanwhile, Dardala goes up to his cell with Skittles for him. But when she gets there, she sees that the room is empty. Esper is now free. She picks up a rotten apple from an old table in the library and heads straight for the room with the door that opens into the maze. Just when Fadi and the magician are trying to escape, she cleans the apple and only then does she realize that it is not an ordinary fruit but the fruit of the tree of life. As soon as the magician sees the apple, he realizes that if it falls into the wrong hands, the world could end. Returning to the main room, Haspar places the seed before her sisters. Her sisters want to use the power of that fruit to recreate the world of gods. But Calypso has other intentions. She wants this tree to be planted on Earth, which will destroy all humanity. Meanwhile, Billy and the others follow Hesper's trail to the Rock of Eternity. Fadi, who is hiding there, peeks from behind a statue and sees the fruit. He catches her quickly, but he accidentally knocks down a stone stand whose loud noise reveals his location. Esper immediately raises the baton, ready to attack. Just then, a strange echo spreads through the hall and the sisters turn to look. Shazam has reached there like lightning. He snatches the stick with a jerk. But a slip of the hand causes the stick to accidentally fly back towards Calypso, who catches it with a smile. Amidst the commotion, Fadi touches his crutch to the stick and at that very moment his powers return. He immediately picks up the fruit and runs away. Angered, Hesper demands the baton from Calypso. But Calypso refuses. She summons her magical dragon, Ladin, to capture the fleeing heroes. The children fly out of the Rock of Eternity and into the sky. The dragon follows them, spewing fire. They hide in a junkyard to think about their next move. But Calypso arrives there too and in one stroke takes away the powers of Fadi, Eugene and Darla. In a last-ditch effort, Billy throws the fruit of life into the air. Mary catches him mid-flight and quickly runs away so that he can't reach Calypso. But in mid-air, Calypso attacks her with a stick, and Mary's powers vanish in an instant. The cat now faces a difficult choice. Save his sister or the fruit. He listens to his heart and decides to save Mary. He takes her to a safe place. Meanwhile, Calypso lands on the ground and buries the seed on life in a baseball field. Within moments, its roots begin to spread in all directions, and the magical powers emanating from them create various types of monsters. Santa, harpies, cyclops and manticores start destroying everything. Millie and her family stand stunned watching all this from the rooftop of a tall building. Just then Anthea arrives. She says maybe she can talk to Hesper and make him understand. She reaches out to her sisters and tells them that the tree is now corrupted and they must use the fruit's power not for destruction but to restore their original world. Hesper realizes that Calypso has gone too far. She decides that this destruction must now end. But then Ladon, still under Calypso's control, pierces him with his tail, due to which he gets a deep fatal injury. Seeing her sister siding with the humans, Calypso goes mad with anger. She turns her staff towards Anthea. Anthea tries to teleport to escape, but a ray as bright as lightning touches him. All her magic is gone and she falls into the crowd. Now like a normal person. Now only the cat is left who has powers. He tells his family to lead all the demons away from the stadium while he deals with Calypso and her dragon. The Shazam family arrives in the middle of the city and tries to distract the creatures. But they soon realize that this will not be enough. Darla suddenly gets a crazy idea. She asks Steve what these monsters fear the most. The magic pen writes the answer instantly. The unicorn wizard warns them that real unicorns are not like the cute horses in children's books, but rather, very dangerous and dark creatures. But Darla doesn't give up. Steve explains that these unicorns live in dark caves and eat the food of the gods. Everyone sets out to find them. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos, Fadi spots Anthea, who is barely able to stand. He breaks away from the rest of the team and rushes to help her. Millie, on the other hand, finally reaches the dragon and punches it so hard that the giant beast collapses, destroying an entire building. But Calypso regains control and commands the dragon to spew fire. The flames scorch Billy's suit. He jumps to avoid the next barrage of fire and retaliates by picking up a car and throwing it at the dragon. But when he tries to attack Calypso directly, all his energy is drawn into the stick. Now Shazam realizes that the only way left for him is to overload the staff. He brings Hesper back to her senses and explains his plan. Hesper confirms that if she puts all her strength into that wand, its magical core will explode. Like a bomb that would blow up everything inside the dome. That's when Darla finally finds a unicorn. He lunges to attack her. But Darla isn't afraid. She throws the colorful Skittles she has in her hand at him. The unicorn stops. He smells them and then starts eating them as if they were food for a god. Within moments, he becomes Darla's partner. Soon Darla is riding through town with an army of unicorns, these sugar-filled magical horses crushing every monster in their path. On the edge of town, Fadi and Anthea hide in a building with some civilians. When Calypso arrives they're riding her huge dragon Ladon. She orders the demon to use his psychic powers to turn everyone against each other. But the dragon's mind control powers don't affect Fadi because he himself was never completely stable-minded. He grabs Anthea and pulls her to safety just in time to bring her back to her senses. At this moment, Billy swoops down from the sky and snatches the stick from Calypso's hand. He quickly flies towards the Tree of Life. As soon as he arrives, Hesper lowers the protective dome surrounding the tree. As they had decided earlier, and Bill heads straight towards the center of the stadium. Lightning was crackling all around. When Billy starts attacking Dom, he was supercharging the staff. But just as he was about to deliver the final blow, the dragon attacked him. Billy flew straight towards him without retreating and took the dragon's blow on his chest. This blow was fatal, but Billy did not give up. The next moment he dashed towards the dragon again and landed a powerful punch on its face. The dragon's jaw slipped out of place and it fell backwards. Now the staff was fully charged. Billy yelled, "Shazam," and he buried the staff right in the middle of the dome. There was a huge explosion. A blinding white light spread all around. Every power line in the entire state was burnt. The dragon collapsed to the ground, and all the magical creatures Darla had brought to the center were reduced to ashes in an instant. But its price was very heavy. When the dust settled, the cat's body lay broken on the ground. All his strength was gone. His family ran to him, but it was too late. Billy is no more. Some time later, in the realm of the gods, Anthea insisted that Billy be given a respectful funeral. He was buried under a tree amidst the world of broken gods. The entire family stood around him, immersed in grief. At that moment Darla asked the magician Is there any way we can bring this kingdom back? The magician took a deep breath and said sadly, only a god can revive this world, and as far as I know, there are no gods left. Then suddenly, there was the sound of rapid footsteps from a distance. Everyone turned their gaze. Wonder Woman stood in front. She moved forward with great confidence. He snatched the staff from the magician's hand and threw it hard into the ground. At that very moment, the whole world seemed to breathe again. Green grass grew from the ground. The trees and plants bloomed again and Anthea's powers returned. The magic was so powerful that it even brought Billy back to life. Tears of joy flowed from the eyes of the family. Billy embraced everyone and that moment was like a true miracle. The kingdom of the gods was established again. The dome was destroyed and all the devastation was gone. This was today's story. If you like this story, then definitely like and subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss the next amazing movie story.